Every time I get an email or text like that, oh my God, my heart just like drops. If he starts stalling, they're going to get off the job market. We should make it just as sexy as and exciting as possible. Welcome back to another Week in the Life video where I show you what I do every single day as a recruiter in the technology industry. As you saw from last week, I was battered and punched and almost knocked out. I was exhausted going into the weekend, but I then got enough time to relax, recharge, eat some good food, and now I'm back at it with you all with another week where we will tackle whatever obstacles and challenges gets thrown our way as a recruiter. If you're new for the first time, welcome. If you've been following, welcome back. If you guys are also excited to make this a great week, Thanksgiving is literally next week, and after that, you have one more month left of 2021, and if you're pumped and you're laser focused to hit your goals this week, end of November, end of December, and the year, please consider liking, subscribing, clicking that bell. It really means a lot and gives us the energy, the focus that we need to just make this week awesome. So I'm excited to get started for you all. We have a jam-packed week already. We got tons of interviews happening, tons of candidate interviews, and I've just been really heads down all day today, focus on just sourcing, so that we can really push and create as much momentum as we can. So without further ado, let's get started. Oh my gosh, so we just found out that our first two interviews had no show for candidates, which blows my mind. 99% of the time, when a candidate does not show up to an interview, there's typically a good reason. Maybe a conflict came up at work, maybe they're unwell, maybe an emergency happened. But for these two specific reasons, both the candidates have accepted the invite right before and they didn't show up. And the client, our hiring manager, tried to call them. I then try to call them, email them, text them, nothing. And even though there shouldn't be any real reason for us to concern right now, I have slowly started seeing an uptick in candidates ghosting interviews throughout this year. Maybe it's because it's so competitive that candidates have more options than ever and such amazing opportunities just getting literally thrown at them every single day. So maybe, they want to schedule an interview and then another more beautiful, more sexy interview comes along and they want to go to that. Whatever the reason, it's just never a good idea to ghost an interview. Not only will you hurt your relationship with recruiters like us, who we can of course talk to our network of other recruiters, just sharing our experience with the particular candidate, but it also hurts your chances and hurts your relationship with the client and the company. We submitted you because the candidates expressed interest in wanting to talk to the company. So there was interest there. And even though there may not be interest now, perhaps there could be more opportunities down the line later in the future where you could still be interested to maybe re-engage. But if you hurt your chances today by ghosting, by ignoring, by avoiding interviews and not just sharing a simple heads up or even an explanation on what happened, that can hurt your chances with a lot of people, and it ends up doing more harm to the candidate than to anyone else. So on the flip side, for us recruiters and hiring managers, because this is something that we're seeing in the market, really make sure that the candidate sincerely expresses strong interest and that whatever availabilities that you get from them, that it's really something that actually can work for their calendar. And once confirmed, I would go an extra 10 yards, reach out to the candidate and just to ask them one more time if this scheduled interview works for their schedule. So this is definitely something we're slowly starting to implement here, just to make sure that ghosting and no-show interviews don't happen. It also just looks horrible on us too, when our client emailed us saying, hey, we had 2 interviews back-to-back with candidates both from you and they're a no-show. Like, what's going on your end? And even though that we definitely do our best to get confirmation in terms of availabilities for our candidates, we will now go the extra 10 yards, add another layer of confirmations so that we can hear from the candidates not once, but twice that the specific time works out. But woo, it is insane. I mean, it's not good starting a week with back-to-back no-show interviews. I honestly hope that it's something as small as something happened, they just simply forgot, maybe they're unfeeling well, and I hope that they're feeling well. For candidates that do choose to ghost, there's usually never like a positive outcome from that. So I would encourage you, if you're a recruiter or hiring manager watching this, to really confirm that the candidate's actually free, and upon confirmation, maybe confirm with them one more time. And if you're a candidate looking at this, if for any reason you cannot make an interview, give the recruiter, give the hiring manager, give the founder a heads up. Trust me, even if you no longer have interest in the opportunity, at least you can save face, stay professional and respectful, and then who knows, you might be able to re-engage later in the line. One quick thought that I want to share with you is that one of the great things about being recruiting is that you don't have to rush necessarily into scaling out your team if you work for yourself. Whatever industry that you're in, if you're good and you can consistently do offers and deals, it could be quite fulfilling, it could be quite lucrative, and it could give you the flexibility that many jobs out there don't have. There's nothing wrong with wanting to scale a team and being able to check that off your life experience or career goals, that you want to have people that you can manage and then maybe one day open up an office or multiple offices. All that's great, but keep in mind, from what I learned, is that you have to make compromises and ask yourself, why are you working for yourself and what exactly is your goal? It's very easy to look at teams and then to be like, oh my God, like they're doing multiple 6 figures, 7 figures a year. But also don't forget that if you have an office, if you have people on payroll, it's also important to think of like the increasing expenses as well. So even though your revenue might be increasing, your expenses might be increasing. So take home, is it really as good as like working as a solo recruiter but doing volume just for yourself? It's really up to you to decide. For me, when I decided to be a recruiter for myself, in the beginning, I wanted that flexibility. I love traveling. I wanted to be able to have a business that I can operate out of New York, Boston, Florida, California, or even Europe. I didn't want to have to deal with employees. I didn't want to have to deal with offices. That just gives me a lot more stress. If you remember my previous video, I talked about recruiting. We get paid by commission. Some months may be amazing. Other months you might not make anything, and it could be very, very stressful. So you still always want to manage your finances and cash flow coming in and really just operate with a lean mentality. Ultimately, if you want to decide to scale a team, that's not a bad thing at all. It could set you up for a situation where you can bring in a lot, you can 5, 10, 20, 50x your income, which is amazing. But also, it does require a little bit more risk in the beginning and stress if you're using your own funds. You have to make sure you can pay for other recruiters, the tools that they're gonna use, offices, co-working space, like all that goes up. So right now for me, in the beginning, I just loved being a recruiter for myself, and I remained being a recruiter for myself for many years. And even though I have a very small team, I just also want to show that like you can do awesome things just working for yourself or having a really, really, really small team. The drama, the politics, and the expenses are low, and the revenue potential is still high if you know what you're doing. And I think for working in an industry like technology that just idolizes raising ridiculous amount of funds and companies scaling to 100, 200, 500, 1,000 people, I think that's a great goal to have. But there's also another scenario a lot of people overlook, where sometimes for me, I think what's more appealing is having either yourself or a really, really small team that's really productive, and then that can produce at a super, super high level. That way your expenses and overhead are low, revenue's high, everyone wins, and life is great. Just wanted to share my thoughts because in the past like couple months, I got people reaching out to me saying, hey, I just started a recruiting agency, I want to scale. Like, when do you scale? How do you scale? And my response is, why do you want to scale? But even before you want to scale, you have to know how to do full desk recruiting for at least like a year or two. You have to understand that whole process, because if you don't understand that, how are you going to teach and coach others? Like it makes no sense. So for me, scaling can definitely be an inevitable evolution of your agency, which is fantastic, but it doesn't have to be something where you feel like you have to do tomorrow. I think if you can get to a point where you can recruit at a high pace, you can have a really comfortable, great life, especially if you don't live in a ridiculously high-tax city like New York City or something. Regardless of our industry, I know a lot of experienced recruiters who chooses to recruit by themselves, and they're doing really, really well. Some are making 6 figures, others making multiple 6 figures, others making 7 figures or more without the added stress or expenses. So just ask yourself, why are you in business? What's important for you? To me, it was flexibility. To me, it was the ability to travel where I want to. I want to be lean, I want to be nimble, and I just wanted to see the world at the same time. So everyone has different goals, but depending on what it is, I just want to share that unlike other conventional businesses where you feel like you have to have an office immediately, have to hire actual people, that's really stressful. You don't necessarily have to do that in recruiting. You can, or you can just push that a little bit longer and just really take it slow and easy and really nail down the art of recruiting. And if you want to bring on 1 or 2 or 3 at a time, that's great. There's nothing wrong with small, high-performance teams. Sometimes you have a big team with mediocre, average performance. You're just gonna end up taking less at the end of the day and having just more drama to deal with. Got a really cool development. So if you've been watching previously, you know that a good friend of mine who actually started as a client reached out to me and told me that he's starting his own startup. And I was super excited about him, but also was worried about him at the same time because the market's absolutely insane. And even though that I'm all about people starting businesses in this market, especially in technology, the battle for talent is just never been hotter and harder. And so many companies from small to medium to large size companies are struggling. And to be a one-man founder right now, to start a company, man, all power with him. But he reconnected with me. He was actually a very experienced marketing professional. And when I first worked with him, we did a lot of marketing hires together, which was amazing. And I helped him scale multiple teams. And then he told me that, he made a decision to stop what he was doing earlier this year to start his own company. And he was able to raise a successful seed round of over $1 million. And he wanted to ask me for help in finding him his first hire. Number one, we don't normally work with companies these early. It's very, very difficult. And of course, a lot of companies here don't really have raised enough funding. So it doesn't make sense for them to pay a lot more for external resources like us. But with my friend, he was able to raise a little over $1 million, which is awesome. And he wants to not waste any time and hit the ground running. And in the beginning, he wanted me to help him with a sales recruiter. And we took the intake call. I told him we would do our best, even though the market's insane. And because he's small, like one person small, he really would have to pull off all the stops to attract and close talent, meaning he has to pay market as close to it as possible. He has to also offer bonus, tons of equity if he can, a clear career projection for him to grow, and yeah, just really sell them on the opportunity and the dream and the vision, because it's going to be challenging. It's going to be an upward hill. The good thing about this though is that every hire he makes, the less perceived risk the candidates would have when looking at the opportunity. So I had a chat with him and brainstormed, like, we should call this a founding team member. We should make it just as sexy as and exciting as possible, from the title to comp and to everything else in between. We got a search started for a sales recruiter. A week and a half went by where all the bites that we've gotten, either they weren't interested or they want to join a bigger company. And as sales recruiters, specifically in a specific market, there weren't actually also a lot of people to reach out to for his criteria, because he also wants something with specific a healthcare tech background. So the market is really small, even in like a big city like Boston or New York. And so we did our best. We reached out to a good number of people, did not get the responses that we wanted. So I was able to recalibrate with them late last week and say, hey, to keep going and to help us help you maximize your pipeline, we need to expand our target pool. So we agreed that, hey, let's try to stick with the same criteria, but instead of just focusing on sales recruiting, let's hit folks that are coming out of business development or even sales operations. And I love that idea because I knew that immediately our target market has increased significantly. So with that in mind, we got a search immediately, started on Friday, went through our database, started 1 or 2 really big kind of deep hits where we did a lot of outreach all day Friday, all day Monday. And the great thing is we got responses fast, so fast that we had 3 interviews with him scheduled today and an interview scheduled with him on Wednesday. Before last Friday, he was kind of getting a little depressed, disappointed, and sad because he was also just trying his best to do outreach for a month or 2 before I started working with him. And he was like, feeling like, oh, I'm gonna give up, this is never gonna happen. And now going into this week, I told him, hey, we have 3 potential 4 interviews set up. And he's like, oh my God, you made my weekend, you made my Monday. I can't wait to start talking to people. So these are one of the biggest benefits of working with recruiters, good recruiters who know what they're doing. We're not just sourcing people on LinkedIn for hire. Like, we do a lot more, from critiquing, analyzing your interview process, to brainstorming and conducting high-level strategy to make the most impact on recruiting and working working together on how we can create the healthiest and most robust pipeline. You know, we do a lot by being able to like pivot by watching the data. We're now seeing results for him. So far, out of the 3 interviews that happened today, he has one more. Actually, no, he has one more later today, and I think 1 or 2 more later this week. So we have 4 or 5 interviews scheduled. Every single one today went positively, which is amazing. And he's also going super fast. There's only 2 rounds, and if this goes well, he'd want the candidate to speak with his lead investor as well as the CPO of his previous company, who's now an advisor. And if that goes well, we can have an offer. So this could be a super fast process, and if everything goes well, maybe we can pop a deal before Thanksgiving, maybe before the weekend. Like, that would be insane. I've lost way too many deals this month. I need to recoup and at least get 1 or 2 more deals in to make this an awesome month so I can finally freaking relax for holidays and Thanksgiving and the impending holidays. All right, just reconnected with a good old e-commerce client of ours that opened up multiple positions. They opened up a marketing manager position, product manager, and then they really still need help with the lead product designer role. The lead product designer role is something we've been working for a little over a month, and it's tough because they want someone so specific. The good news is that for the product manager, they want someone as specific, but they're open to talking to folks with a little more of a tech background, not so much an e-commerce retail background. And this marketing role, it's like a retention lifecycle marketing, really focused on email, CRM, ESP. Right now it's 6 p.m., had a good day so far, really, really good interviews. Gonna have some dinner and then probably spend an hour or 2 re-pitching open roles. And when I say that, what I usually mean is as soon as we pick up open roles, the first thing I like to do before thinking about sourcing, before thinking about new candidates and outreach is digging around our current database to see who we have that could be a good fit. So I'll be going through my filters, going through my database, maybe doing some outreach with people that we already have. And then depending on how that goes, we'll also start a search first thing tomorrow morning. And I love to just do the re-pitch the same day as when I pick up the roles so that I know when I go to bed and when I wake up next day, I can already think about new searches and don't have to worry about going through our database. So it's all about, doing more with the same amount of time. But a good day so far. 4, 5 interviews, majority of them went really well. Moving forward, I'm feeling still really good. So gonna have some quick food, shoot a TikTok video or 2, do some repitches, call it a night. Hello, it is Wednesday night, almost at 6 p.m. For the most part, really just had a great productive day, having about 15 candidate calls with about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 interviews. Majority of them went well, which is great. Today, I really focused on really sourcing for director of product, the product design manager roles, as well as the retention lifecycle marketing. Right now, it is Wednesday evening. So after that, there's only 2 full days left before Thanksgiving week next week. And after Thanksgiving, things tend to be a little bit slow. In the past, it's still a great chance to have a final push to make those couple offers, to really solidify relationships with candidates and clients. What you do in December will honestly set yourself up for January and then just another good solid year. By working hard and ending the year off well, you are really separating yourself from others, from other competitors in your market, where everyone is focused on family and holidays, end of the year festivities, as they should. But if you can just go a little bit more and just do a little bit more than what everyone else is doing, not only will you be finishing off truly December with a bang, this year with a bang, but really making sure that 2022, it starts on the right note. What a lot of times happen is people just go hard on the holidays and New Year's and really needs a lot of time to kind of get back acclimated into work mode. If you can just make sure that everything is pushing forward, you make that extra push, reach out to the extra clients, reach out to the extra candidates, really start setting up your calendar for January. By the time that you come in, you're not gonna be missing any beat, and you can kind of hit the ground running and really just take advantage of the lead and the edge that you have compared to others. January is the best time mentally to come strong. If you can have a strong January, the strong beginning of the year, there's a good chance you will have a solid Q1, a solid maybe Q2, or just even a solid year in general. How you start the year is just like how you start the week. It's just like how you start the day. Get up early, focused, shower, get your priorities straight. Doesn't matter if you partied last night, doesn't matter if you went hard with your friends. Show up to work bright and early, be focused, put in the work, and it will take care of you. So I am excited now that I'm thinking more and more about the end of the year and about the impending Thanksgiving coming around next week. But we are making really, really good progress considering that it is already Wednesday evening. I'm gonna spend the rest of the evening just going through sourcing a lot more, editing a couple videos, and then trying to do my best to kind of end this week strong. No clear offers impending right now. There are a lot of candidates that are simmering across a lot of different positions. Nothing immediate in terms of references or offers. So I'm really just trying to push everything forward. Things are starting to slow down because hiring managers and candidates are going on vacation and starting to travel. So that makes it a little bit tricky, and it really makes the interview process a lot more lengthy than it should. But I will still do my best to stay on top of all the processes. Be patient, be calm, and just keep at it, because I know consistent work will always yield results no matter what. Happy Thursday. Hey, 2 more days left of this week. And looking at the schedule, looking like a pretty productive day in front of us. Got about 8, 9 candidate calls, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 interviews, which is great, across account executive, product, marketing, and even program director. No clear impending offers yet. A lot of candidates are still simmering between the 2nd, 3rd, 4th rounds. If everything goes well, hopefully we should be expecting an offer. It's gonna be unlikely right now if anything can pop before the weekend, which makes me sad. So if that's the case, most likely looking at next week, but because Thanksgiving's next week, means that negotiations might be a little bit tricky, or will have to be postponed to the week after, which is something that I just not a huge fan of. But hey, Thanksgiving, it is what it is. People are already taking vacations, things are starting to slow down. 3 more interviews left today, about 2 more candidate calls to really just honestly have been focused on sourcing for product analysts, people with consulting and investment banking background, at least 1 to 3 years. So if you know anyone, definitely send them over to us, as well as shifting gears and hitting marketing and even product designers. Synced up also with a good client of ours, a D2C acquisition group, and we started engaging with them, I would say probably about 3 weeks ago, and we really hit it hard. Always want to put our best foot forward with new clients, so much so that our hiring manager, who happens to be the managing partner, is super happy so far with our progress. So he not only opened up 2 initial roles that we've been kind of attacking with him, but he introduced us to someone on the team who's heading up kind of the branding creative team. And right now, just moments ago, got off a Zoom call with him, and he's opening up another kind of marketing position, marketing e-commerce position. So this is what I love. You know, every time you get new clients, if you perform well, it just snowballs into many more positions with that same client, or potentially even, you know, word of mouth marketing with his or her network. And that's the best way to get business. So in the beginning, when you're starting out, you always want to just take business development seriously, keep it consistent, keep the numbers and volume strong. But as you get a good, you know, critical mass of clients, I would say good, you know, 3 to 5, and you start performing really well with them, that's going to guarantee future business with them, but also with other departments within the same company if you can help them out with, or they can introduce you to their network, which is the best. So when it comes to biz dev, what I like to do is always be consistent. But you know, if you're getting a spike of new business, you always, of course, want to keep biz dev a little bit slower, because you know, you don't want to onboard 10, 20 new clients. It makes no sense, because how the heck are you going to deliver any sort of good value to one? So you always want to be able to adjust your volume and numbers based on the number of open positions and the number of open clients you're currently engaging with. If you're doing deals really fast and your clients can't keep up, then of course you definitely want to start biz dev again. So either way, when you're in the agency side working for yourself as a solopreneur, a recruitment consultant, recruiting agency, all these things really just mean the same thing. It's really important to keep that biz dev going, establishing new relationships, strengthen current relationships, in addition to obviously doing the same thing with candidates. So it's Thursday, it's almost 4 p.m. here. I'm not sure if I'll have time to hit that. I might just dedicate all Friday tomorrow, so hopefully we can start getting some really good responses early next week before Thanksgiving hits. And once Thanksgiving's done, we can then quickly move forward to candidate screens and interviews. Everything is going really well, feeling really good, drinking some good electrolytes after a matcha this morning. And so gonna just sit down here for a couple more hours and just crank it out and finish the day strong. But happy and pleased that you know, we're still having a good momentum in number of calls, number of candidate screenings, and client intake calls at end of November this year. So a couple more calls, a couple more emails, a lot more sourcing, and we'll see you in a bit.
Nothing much, my man. How are you?
Good. It sounds like you had quite the week so far.
Yeah, man. Just a pretty busy week just with work, and then also interviews and stuff.
Well, first of all, like, you did amazing on the first round. I was able to hear from them briefly, and they were really impressed by you. Whoever spoke with you really loved what they heard, and they're excited to move forward. So that's obviously great news. Great job there. I mean, what about you? Like, did you have a good experience?
Yeah. There's just a lot of connections that we had just from a background. Obviously, she just has more experience, but just from a background standpoint, I think I sort of connected all the dots on those, and she was just like ecstatic about that. The conversation was just great. I think the position is awesome. The office is literally one block away, so going in is all right.
Sounds good. So yeah, just let me know once everything is confirmed. Of course, if I hear back from them, I will let you know. But overall, I'm glad everything's going well. Hopefully we can kind of get you in there one more time before Thanksgiving hits. All right, just got off the phone with amazing candidate for a business development manager position. The reason why, again, it's great that you are focused on specific niches is most likely you have multiple roles that are hiring basically the same thing. So that's exactly what we did here. We have 3 different clients looking for a business development manager. We found him for one, and he ended up being, surprise, surprise, a great fit for the other 2. So despite work, we really kept him busy this whole week. One, unfortunately, did not work out. One is kind of in the holding pattern because they want to get through other people first. But one that we just talked about, an ad tech company, is moving forward, which is very, very exciting. So this is what I mean by stay focused and not source anything under the moon, because if I only had one business development position, if I found an amazing candidate like him, I can only share one position with him. It would be way better if you can share him 2, 5, 7, 8 positions, all from you. So it not only gives him the feeling that we're really working for him, but it also maximizes the probability of you doing a deal with this candidate. So you put in the same work, and you could definitely increase the chances for a greater result than if you only had one position to share with them. So great news. Just also heard back from our favorite clean energy tech company. If you don't know the backstory or context behind this, make sure you watch previous Week in the Life videos. At least go back like another 3-4 weeks and you'll be caught up. But these guys opened up a really singularly difficult role called a process engineer. And again, if you don't know the backstory, this is me just going out on a limb and just really helping them as much as I can, even though this is not my specialty. I focus in tech. They're looking for thermal nuclear engineers. And even though I literally just said, stay focused, the only reason why I'm doing this is because they've been referred by a really good friend of mine that I've done so much business with. So I told them, hey, even though this is not my specialty, I will do my best. And what you don't see is all like the reading and studying that I had to do to just get familiar with surface level as much or as deep as I could in terms of all the basic keywords, the skills, the background, just so that I can even just come off, talking like a credible human being to the candidate pool that I'm reaching out to. So it was quite a journey with this company, but they opened up one that they had a lot of difficulty with. And this is something that I had a lot of difficulty with too. I think we've been almost looking for this role for over a month, and the whole reload thing to New York is a huge obstacle. And I knew that Thanksgiving was around the corner. I knew the holidays were around the corner. So I decided to really take last week and this week and just hit it as hard as I can. Late nights, really pushing. I think my neck and back, I'm still feeling it. As a result, thank God, I don't know how, but we were able to find not one, but potentially 2 to 3 amazing candidates. One of them is actually scheduled for tomorrow, and we just heard back from the founder. He wants to speak with one more. And these guys, they hire so fast. They only have 2 rounds. If they like them, offer. So when you're working with a client with a short process, you have to start the closing process literally much earlier than working with a client that has like 4, 5, 6 rounds where you can develop a good relationship with the candidate. So I have to immediately just start talking and using the language with the candidates that it's a fast process, offer might happen fast. If you have any questions, like really think about it in between stages and really let me know so I can help you, and just have that dialogue and have them slowly start envisioning what a future could be like working at this company. And the great thing is they're both not from New York, but they're both open to reload. So huge win-win. Gonna lock this second guy in. And because of that, I'm feeling much better about this. 50-50 now, maybe he hires both. But I think the chances of him liking at least one of these is getting a little bit higher. I think I might have 1 or 2 more for him to review, but This went from being a doom and gloom, like there's no way I'm gonna find anyone, to now submitting and scheduling 2 people. It just goes to show that, if you know what you're doing recruiting wise, you can recruit effectively across multiple disciplines beyond what you're specialized in. So just really happy that I can now finally show some results. If this is done, this would potentially be a 3rd deal with this clean energy tech company before the holidays. So let's go. It's almost 5 p.m. here on a Thursday. Just want to share one more interesting development with you. As you know, I am working with a good client who turned into a friend who is a one-man founder right now, looking to start his own startup in this ridiculous market. And now it doesn't really help with the holidays around the corner, shaking things up. His main requirement was a sales recruiter. We did a couple passes. It didn't really get that many good results. A lot of the responses that we got are they're just not interested, they're not looking for new roles, or most importantly, they want something more established. Especially after COVID, everyone's just more risk averse, and to be the first hire in a super small startup, and by small I mean just a one-man show, it has a lot of perceived risk for a lot of people, and it just makes them feel uneasy, especially if they have what they think is a stable job with a stable company. So, and because it's a sales ops and he wants someone, a sales recruiter role, and he wants someone that had healthcare experience in one city, it just made the target market so much smaller. So, a couple weeks have gone by, we weren't really able to show him anything. He's obviously very desperate for this. So I synced up with him last week. I'm like, hey, we should change gears. Instead of focusing on sales recruiters, let's maybe include business development and even sales ops in the mix, because at the end of the day, they have a lot of transferable skills and it will cast it out much wider. And so we did exactly that. And now we're seeing results, finally. We still got a lot of pushback from candidates saying they're too small, we wanna talk to more established companies, but we were still able to finally get him like 4 people, all of whom he wanted to interview. So it's 100% success rate. Frankly, I'm just really happy we were able to get him 4 people, to be honest. And because we just sold him and the company so well. But now it's end of the week, the interview should be going well. And then he's like, hey, he just emailed me right now saying, hey, do you have more people to send? We need to send more people before making a decision. And I have a couple issues with that. Number one, it's a miracle that he's able to interview 4 people through us. Like, that's amazing. I would have been happy with 1 or 2. Number 2, if he starts stalling on our candidates, they're going to get off the job market and someone else is gonna swoop them in, or they're gonna find another job and he's gonna miss out. I totally understand why companies do this, but they have to also remind themselves, how much time has gone by with no results and how desperately do they need people. Like, this guy has investors hounding him saying, where is your first hire? We need to make a team. As I talked to in the previous videos, one of the curses of doing your job well in recruiting is then your hiring manager or the client start getting accustomed to your results, and then they start expecting to see that all the time. And so it's a blessing and a curse. Like, it's a blessing that you have results, but it's a curse that now their expectations are significantly higher. And he totally forgot that before we came on board, he found 0. So now what I need to do in this case is push back, be like, hey, we found you 4 people, all of whom that you really like. Actually, out of the 4, 3 likes 3, like a lot. I'm like, you need to move forward and engage with these guys. And if you start thinking about what else is out there, more time is gonna go by. You could risk losing these guys and also risk not interviewing anyone else because his expectations are so niche. It's a lot of balance that you have to play with, but at the end of the day, I know that he's desperate. He needs to hire someone now. He has people now to consider thanks to us. We will of course do our best to send him more people, but now I need to start pushing back and applying pressure saying, hey, like, don't forget the people you already interviewed instead of just focusing on new people that you want to interview. It's very easy for hiring managers and companies not to see all the rejections that we're getting, all the responses that we're getting, and remind themselves of the fact that just even getting 4 people in this market who's willing to be the first hire is pretty crazy. And I'm really just personally happy with that. So now it's all about a balanced game. I'm gonna keep trying to find more people, but at the same time, rein the founder in and just remind them, hey, you still have 4 good people here. Take them seriously. Let's push them forward as far as they can go. I think if you're a good recruiter, you've been recruiting for a while, you can totally relate to what I'm saying. It's definitely a good problem to have, but now you just got to manage the founder's expectations moving forward so that you can continue to work smart and you're just not continuously outreaching and sourcing with no results because the founder or the hiring manager ends up being indecisive. So it's got to do a little bit of both, and that's my strategy for this specific specific client moving forward. But all in all, good news. It's now about 5. Gonna do one quick video, got a lot more sourcing, and maybe cook up some nice food because I'm getting really hungry. So all in all, good Thursday. Things are happening, things are moving, and fingers crossed.
There's no better way to bring in Friday than homemade fries. Oof, it's gonna be a good night.
It's Friday! Somehow I am feeling great this morning, slept well, caffeine up to the wazoo. If you've been seeing my previous videos, you know my caffeine source of choice is matcha. I also drink coffee, but matcha is like green tea on steroids. It lifts you up, holds you in a very consistent way, and then you gradually taper down. I just take it first thing in the morning. It gives me the energy to wake up and also gives me energy to push through a workout. But if I really want to kind of go, push my feet down and get a little bit more energy, I follow it in the morning with white tea, which is amazing. It's like green tea, has all the great benefits, but it also has great caffeine release as well. So it just makes me super focused and productive all morning. And another thing I'm making an effort for is to stay hydrated. So this is not water, this is electrolytes. So it's very important. Sometimes when I'm super busy and I don't even have time to eat lunch, it's important to stay hydrated, but also make sure it gives you the nutrients, the electrolytes to make sure you're staying and taking care of yourself and at least, you know, getting some nutrients and energy in for your body. But enough of that. Coming into Friday, I always get excited about Fridays because it's a chance for me to be different from other people and push and work hard to finish the week off strong. We had a couple of really good news. 2 interviews happened today, both really positive. Ended up talking to actually an amazing design manager from a tier 1 company who could be perfect for my health tech client who's looking for a design manager. Also heard back and spoke with another amazing candidate, super niche and technical for my clean tech client. So I immediately submitted him. Speaking of clean tech client, an interview has already happened earlier. Able to hear back briefly that it went well. She has one more round and that could be a final. So we're getting closer to an offer there. And then for the outlook of today, I have probably about 9 candidate calls, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6 interviews, which is pretty solid for a Friday. And that will conclude the last full week of work before Thanksgiving hits. We technically still have several weeks between Thanksgiving and the holidays, but you know what I noticed is that from Thanksgiving onward, people are just more into the New Year's holidays spirit. It's just gonna get a little bit more challenging for interview scheduling, coordinating, and feedback. A lot of people are traveling this time of year. I'm just happy that we're able to really maintain this level of momentum. I'm all about that, just so you know we can come into next week hot and just really expecting us to do the same thing, to push through post Thanksgiving into December so that we can truly enjoy the holidays and finish off this year with a bang. But I'm gonna finish drinking these. I got that literally back-to-back 7 calls coming right up. I'm also going to focus on director and head of product roles this morning. Probably gonna take me at least several hours, and then shift gears back to product analysts, specifically reaching out to people coming out of iBanking and consulting. So got a lot of super targeted outreach going on right now, and hopefully if I do my job well enough, then I can come into next week with a packed schedule, which I love. I hate getting out of the weekend and looking at the calendar for next week and being empty. That means you have no momentum on your desk, and so I always like to work hard today so that my future Preston next week is coming in with a productive schedule. So doing what I can to keep the pipeline for clients and candidates full. I'm not sure if we're looking at any impending offers right now. I'm hoping that we were able to do at least one more this week, but things are simmering, which I'm happy about. So I'm just gonna push, and you know what, finish strong. So I'll see you in a bit.
Didn't seem to be too clear on that. So I wanted to just make sure that, we're relaying the right message to the candidates, and like they're aware that, we do have we are a tech company, but we are an agency. Lexia is the technology piece that's a part of us, but we are a agency as well.
Oh, you know what? I think that's really great for you to clarify, because I think when we're still going off our first notes, she told us emphatically, hey, we're a tech company, we have our own SaaS platform, and so that's kind of what we're really emphasizing on. But at the same time, it's yeah. So I know it's totally our fault. I'm so sorry about that. And yeah, so we will definitely mention, of course, you guys still have a software, but you operate like an agency. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay,
Definitely.
we're on the same page. So for this role specifically, it is very much client focused or client side, correct?
Yes, it's very hands-on with the client.
Gotcha. Okay, so that was actually one of my clients at the ad tech. She texted me saying, hey, we need to talk. We have concerns to bring up. And every time I get an email or text like that, oh my God, my heart just like drops. And I get so anxious and stressed. I'm like, oh my God, are they gonna drop us? What happened? But all is good. You know, there was a little confusion with our candidate who interviewed with them today. Our ad tech company, they're kind of like a part agency, part startup, and we were just mainly pitching them as more of a startup because that's what the founder wanted. But then, you know, it turned out that a lot of the roles that they have there are also just more agency focused or client focused. And when we spoke with the candidate's like, I don't want to do any client focused. I'm like, hey, with these guys, this is an internal role. You don't have to worry about that. But then when he interviewed, they're like, this is a client focused role. So, had to do damage control. Had to do damage control with my candidate, had to do damage control with our client, but all is good, thank God. I only want good news on Fridays, no bad news. The worst is just getting really bad news on Friday and then you have the whole weekend to sulk and think about it. But all is good, back to my positive, happy self. Regardless, you just have to kind of get over it, move on, find solutions. That's all we do at the end of the day. Business owner, recruiter, we're just problem solving every single day and thinking about creative solutions to kind of get things done. So had a productive call with them. Things are moving, got a lot of people simmering. We're actually actively working 4 roles with them right now. Pipelines for 2, 3 of them are pretty solid. So I'm thinking we can at least do 1 or 2 of those definitely before end of New Year, but gonna keep the pipeline hot and do what we can. But so far it is almost 1 o'clock and yeah, it's going really, really well so far and got a bunch more calls. We'll see you soon. Stepped out real quick to get some goodies to enjoy later today. Beautiful Friday. All right, so it's almost 3 p.m. on Friday and I'm just feeling over the moon and positive. Why? Because it's one of those days where I had a chance to really speak with amazing candidates. Like every single person that I talked to today were just amazing people. Not only were they like super skilled and accomplished in their respective backgrounds and their markets, but they were just great people. It just puts you in a great mood. And this is not something that just happened today. This happens actually all the time. And it's, when you think about it, it's the reason why I'm still in recruiting. If you've been following me for a while or you just joined, you know, again, welcome, really appreciate it. At the end of the day, you do this long enough and you realize it's just not about the money. Like great, yeah, you can make a great income from this, but what really kind of resonates with me and hopefully what resonates with you if you're also in the same industry in talent acquisition or recruiting is that you can not only have a chance to meet amazing people across the board. They could be candidates, they can be hiring managers, they can be founders, so many different types of variety of people that you can meet every single day and every single week. And I just think that's amazing. There's not too many jobs out there where you can really indirectly network with some of the best professionals in whatever industry that you're in. And not just that, like you can have the chance to really impact people and their family's life. There's no better feeling in helping someone find a job they're really excited about. There's no better feeling hearing about a candidate who's like, oh my God, like this job will change my family's life or their career trajectory, or getting an email or a call from a hiring manager or a founder saying, oh my God, Preston, thank you so much. We struggled looking for an amazing candidate for a long time. Then you helped find a rock star that's just helped 5-10x our business in the next like 3-6 months. And stories like this are plethora. There's tons over the years I've been doing this. And honestly, like everything that I experienced, all the dramas, all the annoying things, all the delays, all the, difficult clients. I mean, that's only 0.0000001% that really bothers me. On the whole, like this is extremely fulfilling, not just for yourself and what you do, but also from how you can impact other people and their lives. I think there's not too many jobs out there. There's not too many careers that can allow you to do that. I have all respect for anyone in sales. We all really do the same thing, but in recruiting, you have a chance to really sell good people or sell talent. Like that's what we do every single day. And it's our jobs to forge really strong relationships, get to know people, and then provide value. And over time, these people can become, these strangers can become not only colleagues, maybe business partners, but also really, really good friends. And I think after all these years, that's why I'm still here. It just never gets old every time you do an offer. It just never gets old getting these calls and emails. And just wrapping up a week, it's just the fitting thought of just emotion that I'm feeling right now. And I've had a really, really good week. I'm happy with what we were able to accomplish with the momentum, but also just something as simple as talking to a lot of people. And they were, each and every one of them in their own right, are just super nice, incredible, and just very easy to get along with. It just reminds me why I'm still doing what I'm doing. So whether you're just starting out, whether you've been recruiting for 5, 10, or 20 years, just remind yourself of why you started and why you keep doing this. It's really the simple things. Ignore the commissions, ignore the offers, ignore the types of amazing companies you're working at. At the end of the day, it's about people-to-people interaction. And if you're the type of person that you thrive off developing strong relationships or making impact people's lives, you're literally in the perfect career and profession. So overall, it's been a great Friday. All interviews have gone really, really well. I think we have 2 more right now, 2 more interviews that are still happening. I just finished my last candidate call, and as you can hear, my voice is getting a little bit raspy, but I kind of love it because it just makes me feel like I've just done a lot of work, good work that day. So coming into next week, we are looking into Thanksgiving, especially if you're here in America. So the week will be extremely short. I'm going to do my best to literally pack Monday and Tuesday because I'll be off the rest of the week. Excited to taking some time off, but at the same time, when I take too much time off, it's almost a little bit stressful because you're like, oh my God, I can be talking to more candidates, or what happens if someone's in the offer, like, does it need my attention? But I've learned to, and I'm trying to do better to be able to shut things off and only be available for true emergencies. But anyway, I just wanted to share some final thoughts with you. Again, it took me a full circle in my recruiting career to really be proud of who I am as a recruiting professional and really own it. And it's small things like, meeting amazing people that you just honestly can't complain with, and it just puts a smile on your face. So gonna finish up, got a couple more calls, gonna see you in a bit. It is that time of the day and the week to finally say farewell and just thank you again for watching another week in the life. If you made it this far, really, really means a lot. I hope you enjoy watching these videos, you find value, you learn something, or you just love watching me work my butt off every single day doing the best. I just honestly want to show what recruiters do in a very transparent way. And whether you're in the agriculture field, the finance, marketing, legal, or tech, at the end of the day, we all do the same thing. Companies pay us to really be the middleman that connects the people that are hiring, the companies that are hiring, to the people looking for jobs. And if we can make that happen, if we can make a match made in heaven, then we get paid and we get rewarded. And it's certainly an exciting, rewarding career. It can also be very frustrating, unpredictable, and stressful. But that honestly just makes the whole thing worth it. If it's just boring and the same thing all day, every day, I'm not sure if I'll still be recruiting after all this time. So no matter what punches you got to take, you just got to get up, get over it, and move on. And that's what recruiting teaches you. That's what running a small business or working for yourself teaches you. You can only control what you can control. Anything you can't control, don't worry about it. So considering it's later in the day, I feel still really, really good, happy with what we were able to do today and happy what we were able to do this week. I think partly because I'm still way overly caffeinated with whatever I took this morning. I am still flying, but feeling great. But I overall just feel very productive and accomplished. As I mentioned, this is the last full week before here in America Thanksgiving hits. And once Thanksgiving hits, everyone just starts going into traveling, hibernating, holiday and New Year's mode. And even though between Thanksgiving and holidays are still a great time to do deals, it will still be a little bit trickier as people are starting to travel, people are being slower to respond, but we will continue to do our best. But I'm really happy because from January till now, we worked the hardest that we could. I personally pushed myself as much as I could last week and this week, almost working late nights every single night. I'm starting to really, really feel it mentally and physically right now, but I'm happy because it is Friday, so I don't have to work tomorrow and I can start relaxing after I say bye to you here. As you saw in the last video and the previous ones, we're able to do one deal, and there was that one Tuesday where I lost 2 other deals, and so that is still an incredible month because doing any deal is incredible, but doing 2 more on top of that would have been ridiculous. But with that said, we still have a week and a half left of November, so there's still a chance I can maybe squeeze in another deal or 2 here. But anyway, really grateful as always. If you have any questions, you want to see more of my life, or you're curious about certain aspects of recruiting or working for yourself as a solopreneur, small agency owner, or entrepreneur, just ask me. More than happy to share with you at least my experience and my thoughts. If you are a recruiter, we're always looking for other amazing recruiting professionals to work with, to partner with. So if you have a great track record of handling high volume positions, or you've been working for yourself for a while and you're looking for other great people to partner with, feel free to always reach out, comment down below, or reach out to me on Instagram. But don't forget that in the description box below, there's a link to our open positions that we're recruiting for in real time. I will do my best to fully update it over the weekend. So if you know anyone that might be a good fit, please feel free to reach out to them. In addition to that, we also have an incredible referral program. So if you're just watching this, you're interested about recruiting, you're not even a recruiter, but you might have some friends who you think might be an amazing fit for our roles, we pay up to $10,000 for the introduction for the right person. So please check out our job boards and reach out to us if you think you have someone that might also be a good fit. As of right now, I am very focused on trying to drive as much momentum in my 2 days that I'm working next week, but really looking beyond Thanksgiving and trying to pack my calendar between Thanksgiving and the holidays. That's literally your last hurrah, your last chance where you can really end the year off well. So with the same amount of time, in my philosophy, if you've been watching, just do as much as you can. If you have the same time, pack in an extra 3 to 5 calls, pack in an extra 3 to 5 emails. You can always do more if you're efficient with your time and you act with a sense of urgency. So just as I pushed myself the past 2 weeks to get momentum into Thanksgiving, I will push myself one more time for 2021 to pack December and whatever is left of this year. As for this week, I am sad we weren't able to do an offer, but it is what it is. Like, this is what happens. You just have to adapt to make the most of it. But at the same time, I'm still really happy we put the most into this week so that we have a lot of simmering fires that are slowly progressing to the final round. So if not next week, hopefully we can pop a couple more before November truly ends. But all in all, it's been a great November. Can't wait to end this month off. If you guys also had a great week, please comment down below. If you had some amazing wins, or there are certain things that you want to do better for next week, comment down below. We're all in this together, and it's about really reflecting on your previous week, what you've done well, what you could do better, and just focus and create new goals for next week so that you can keep being productive and efficient with your business and whatever line of work that you guys do. It's been one hell of a year for business and for personal and health, so I am looking forward to at least doing what I can, control what I can, and finish this year off with you all in a very productive manner. I'm going to now take it easy, really enjoy the rest of my day, eat some good food, and hopefully recharge enough where I can make next Monday and Tuesday count. But hope you've enjoyed this, really appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one.